All right. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Richmond University, the American International University in London. This is our third UK student visa webinar that we're doing here for you. My name is Victoria Yepes Taylor. I'm the Assistant Manager of Operations for Admissions. Wow, my title's longer than my name. And so I work in the US Admissions Office. I am based out of Florida. I also have my colleague, Bobby Haas, who is based out of New York, and we are both Richmond alums. So very happy to be here with you all today. And you want to say howdy, Bobby? Oh, wait, you just went on mute.
Yep. How you doing, guys? Welcome to the chat.
Awesome. Excellent. And then, yeah, super. All right. So here we go. Let's get started. So on the right there, I've just got a little kind of artistic rendering of what the sticker, the visa vignette that we're all trying to achieve and receive. And then I just put a cute little approved stamp on it, but that is not what it actually looks like. All right, so let's dive in. Here we go. Okay, so we recently produced and sent around a infographic that you should either in the offer letter physical mailing, or we also have it on our web page too. If you need that, we can certainly get that to you. But I've taken a little snippet of the top part of the infographic because I like it so very much. And so we're kind of just going to back up for a second. To start with, right before the visa application, step number one, as soon as you begin, first things first is to confirm your enrollment. You have to let us know that you would like to join us. So that is done by following the two next steps. First is completing the offer acceptance form. And the second one, if you are a US dollar fee payer and you're an undergrad, then it is to submit the $500 tuition deposit. And there's more info about that on our Making Payments page. If you are a postgraduate, or like we say in the States, graduate student, there is not a deposit, or if you are a non-US dollar fee payer, there is not a deposit. It's just the offer acceptance form. Moving along, we have our FAFSA. If you plan to use any FAFSA funding, if you are eligible for FAFSA funding, there's our Richmond code right there, G10594. Definitely fill that out. And I know you have to, you can either search for us by typing in our name or by using the code. I certainly encourage using the code because I think it's because of all of the names, all the length of the title of the school, it's easier to kind of search just by using the code. And then finally, exploring housing. These are all things that you can do right now. You can go to our accommodation page. We have a partner housing provider that we're working with, IQ Haywood House in West Hampstead. And currently, Student Affairs has sent everyone, or actually our UK partner has sent everyone the initial form with our Student Affairs for housing. And then the next step is you'll receive a unique link to go to the IQ page if that's the provider you've decided to go with. All right, so let's dive in. A little bit more just on how to accept your offer. So if you applied via the direct application, so that's the app right on our website, or with the Common app, then it's just completing the offer acceptance form on our website. If you did apply through UCAS, which typically students do if they apply to like multiple UK universities or something like that, then you do have to kind of log into your UCAS and follow the deadlines that are on, within your UCAS portal, because they are specific to when you applied and things like that. So if you have any questions about, UCAS, feel free to let us know. Okay, so kind of recapping with the chart as well, checking out housing. So starting fall 2020, 2022. All of our students, our undergrads, will be at our Chiswick Park campus, and all students will be in off-campus accommodation. So the university, in order to kind of ease that transition, has partnered with IQ Haywood House to provide a accommodation option that has a dedicated Richmond section and also has live-in, resident aid, resident directors, that kind of classic college life that and support that I definitely encourage for a new incoming student. Submitting your $500 deposit if needed, student funding, official transcripts. We're getting to that time now. If you are graduating this month or the beginning of next month, and you have to be sure that we get your final official transcripts as well. If you're taking a college classes right now, and just make sure we have the up-to-date records so we kind of know exactly where you stand, because going to the next point, we will, if you have any AP, IB exams, things like that, college credit classes, anything that requires a transfer credit evaluation, we'll definitely need to get that done for you, because that may impact the length of your visa if you've taken more than a semester's worth of classes. That would adjust the length of your stay or anticipated stay. Okay, so this is a question that I get a lot. Where is my CAS letter? That's a great question. To which I reply, one does not simply receive their CAS letter. Okay, so that okay seemed a little strong. There are a few steps that you have to go through to qualify for your CAS letter, and that's what we're going to go over now, as well as explaining what the CAS letter is, because that may be the first time you've heard that. All right, so moving down into the infographic, we have what we call CAS prep, or the preparation for your CAS letter. CAS meaning Confirmation of Acceptance for Studies, CAS. You need this letter to apply for your visa. You cannot apply for your visa until you have this letter. Therefore, how do we get this letter? Step one, you have to have an unconditional offer. How do you know if there are any conditions on your offer? On your offer letter, it'll list any conditions that you have. For most people, don't be alarmed if you do have a conditional on your offer. For most people, it's just graduating high school or completing their semester, or maybe we needed some part of, some piece of your application or something like that. But just making sure that you have an unconditional offer is step one. Step two, so important, valid passport. And by that I mean A, having a passport, but B, also making sure that it isn't expiring anytime soon. So take a look at it and see if if it's due to expire. If it's coming up close, basically you need, from the time you apply, it has to be good for another 6 months. Ideally, it'd be good for the entirety of your studies. But so if you're kind of in between that area, you can definitely check with us and ask. It seems to be varying region to region how quickly you can get a passport renewed if needed. I know in the past year or two, with different offices being closed, some places it was a challenge and it took a while. But you can always investigate that and see, maybe what expedited processing would be, if it's worth it, or if you decide, that you've got 9 months left on the passport, for example, then you can certainly apply for your visa. And then either when you're in the UK, you can go to the embassy and get a new passport, or you could do it over, I would say, the summer break or something. I wouldn't suggest doing it over the winter break, because that sounds like a stressful winter break for you. And I feel like a lot of times, right around the winter break, everyone kind of forgets how to do everything. So I wouldn't suggest that time. Moving down the list, we have the CAS request form. So this is on our offer holders webpage. The CAS request form, it does not immediately action the CAS letter. I know a lot of times applicants will say, I've submitted the CAS request form. Where's my CAS? And I'm like, that's excellent. Thank you so much for submitting your CAS form. But you still have a condition on your offer or your passport, or Maybe. Moving on to the next two points here. Another item needed to receive this letter is a minimum of 40% tuition needs to be paid. This could be paid either in direct payment is certainly welcome, wire transfer or card, or this can be paid if you plan to use any kind of student loans. Typically, when someone takes out student loans, they use student loans to cover the entirety of the costs. But however we get to that 40%, super. One more thing to consider, number 5 here, are the maintenance funds. So the maintenance funds, that has to do with the concept that the UK government wants to ensure that a student can support themselves while they're in the UK. So we can all debate how much a person needs to support themselves, but they've settled on a number. They've decided that they've calculated that a student needs £12,006 to support themselves for the first 9 months, which is what they're looking for, basically the first year. So that would be equivalent to, depending on conversion rates, about $16,000. So this can be shown in a liquid checking or savings account, or it could be covered in student loans. Again, US passport holders, which I'm thinking the majority of today's attendees are considered low-risk nationals. There's a number of countries that are. So it is very rare for that information to be requested of you. Richmond will not request that information from you at any point. But if it was requested of you during your visa application process, you would need to submit that evidence swiftly. So I mentioned that to say it's not something that you could move around once you're in the middle of your visa application. You do have to be aware of it. So even though it's incredibly rare, we have to be ready for the incredibly rare, right? Wow, not many words on that slide, but a lot going on. All right, so another common question. I have my CAS letter now. Am I done? Well, that's great. I'm glad you have your CAS letter, because as we've just established, that is a little bit of work. You did some work there. But wait, there's more. Okay, so when you have your CAS letter, you are not done. That is not your visa. This is just allowing you to start the visa application. I mentioned that because sometimes applicants, go through all the work, receive their CAS letter, and then they just hold on to it. And that is not the end of the process. All right, so let's go on to what your next steps are here. So once you receive your CAS letter from the UK Admissions Office by email, you can start your online visa application. You complete the application online via the Home Office website. And a couple rules about that: you should apply before you travel. You need it to gain entry into the UK, and no more than 6 months before the start of your course date. We're certainly in that window, so no worries there. I just took a little screenshot of the page just to give you a little idea. That Start Now button would get you going on your application, and very soon into the application, they would ask for your CAS ID number, which is on your CAS letter. So you can't get very far without your CAS letter. And then there's just the link for reference. Okay. Okay. So visa fees, nobody wants to talk about fees, but we have to do it. We must. So there is an application fee and there is an immigration health surcharge fee, or what you'll hear from now on, IHS fee. So the application is £348, and that's a one-time application. And the IHS fee is £470 per year of expected study. And then we do have a little asterisk there, which I'll go into in just a moment. So just to give you an idea, I know we're kind of getting used to conversions and things like that. So application fee, £348, equivalent to, as of April 5th, when I first looked it up, $456 would be the application fee. And then the IHS fee, so the health insurance fee, which is not optional, £470, equivalent to about 615 US dollars per year of expected study. All right, so why do we have that pesky asterisk there? So expected study, because I want to give you an idea of, like, if you're anticipating, if you're incoming freshman, no credits coming with you, then we're multiplying that 470 times 4 and change, because they give you a little space before the start of your term, you can arrive up to a month early before the start of classes. And then they also give you about 2 or 3 months post-graduation as well. So all of that time has to be covered with the IHS fees. I have a couple examples so that we can kind of wrap our heads around this a little more, because I do want to, I just want you to be familiar with these figures so nobody's surprised at any point. So for example number one, if you are an incoming freshman with no transfer credits, which is perfectly fine, you're coming in and you've got a 348-pound application fee, and then you have a your IHS fee would be 2,150 pounds. Added that together, got us 2,463, and that is equivalent to about 3,210 US dollars. And that is due very early when you start completing the online student visa application. So I just kind of like to give you that figure so that you sort of know what to anticipate, because this amount will be, for example, if you plan on using any kind of FAFSA funding, this fee will be due prior to those loans being dispersed. So this would need to be a fee that you're prepared for. I have a second example here. Let's see. So for example, incoming graduate student with a fall start, because there is a difference fall and spring. So fall application fee, 348, same thing. IHS fee 705, so 1,053 pounds, equivalent to about 1,400 US dollars, because the graduate program is shorter. So those are two examples. I don't, neither of them may be exactly your case, but you likely fall in between these two. There is also on the UK student visa page a calculator where you can put in your course dates and you can know exactly what the costs will be for you. That's what we use to come up with these numbers. Oh, there's the website right there. So yeah, so if you wanted to check, you could look it up. All right, so let's say you've paid your fees. The next step when you're on that online application is they will, you'll have to schedule your biometrics appointment. Biometrics is a really fancy way of saying that they're going to take a fingerprint scan and they're going to take your photo. And this is the photo that will go on your visa. So, if you are the kind of person who cares about how the photo looks, then, then the picture will take place at that appointment. Not that you have to do anything crazy, but anyway. I have a little asterisk here as well, because there are notable differences at this stage moving forward between the standard and premium routes of visa application. For the purposes of this presentation, I am mostly focused on the standard route, which takes about 4 to 5 weeks. At this point in the year, you're at this presentation, there's no reason, or probably very few reasons that the standard processing isn't going to work for you. But, if you want faster turnarounds, there's certainly, there's premium services for everybody. And that's certainly something we can go into. But for today, I'm just kind of going through the slowest kind of standard option. And then, of course, there are options where you can get your visa in about 48 hours if you'd like to double the cost of your visa. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, feel free to ask and we can talk about that further. All right, so once you've had your biometrics appointment, and this takes place at a local immigration office. Going back to that real quick. So they schedule you by your zip code. You go to a local USCIS office. If you want to find the closest one near you, just Google USCIS and then your city, and you'll find out. I took a look in my city and found out it was about 5 minutes away, which is pretty cool. These well, pretty cool for a visa nerd, I guess. These immigration offices, they do a lot of immigration work for the US. They are not UK visa professionals. So if you have questions about the visa process, feel free to ask us. They do the biometrics, they give you a receipt that proves that you did it, they send you on their way. That is about the extent of what they do. So I just don't want to like set too high expectations of any info that they would have. Now, if you go to a premium center, they would have a little bit more information for you. Okay, so you've gone to your biometrics appointment, photo taken, fingerprint scanned, you received a little receipt from it. Now it is time to post your application. So what you do is you mail it off. You have 5 days after your biometrics appointment. Now this is one reason why we're having this talk now is so you know, once again, after biometrics is done, we're not there just yet. But wait, there's more, right? So you post your application, a copy of the application form, your passport. Yes, you mail your passport in the traditional route that I'm referring to. Premium route, asterisk, different. Traditional route, you mail your passport, you mail a return shipping label, any additional documents that they've asked you for at any point. And it all goes to New York, West Coast, East Coast. Applications go to New York. I know a lot of people get nervous and leery about mailing their passport. I certainly understand that. You do, you do priority shipping. You track it all along the way. I'm not going to say nothing ever happens, but it's always been resolved and, located if there has ever been anything funny. If you really dislike the idea of mailing your passport, then there is the option of going to a premium center. There's 10 located in the US, basically the 10 major cities, and you can deliver everything that way, but they still return it to you by mail, I think, unless you opt to pick it back up there. So again, we can talk about that if you'd like. So current passport, making sure that it has a blank page there, because why do they need your passport? Because they're going to put a physical sticker in your passport. A lot of times they'll give you the option to scan a photo of the kind of photo signature page of your passport. You can certainly do that, but they still need your passport because sticker. Okay. If your application, and this is from the UK website, if your application is posted without the passport, the application will be refused. I happen to know through a very stressful experience, you can reconnect your passport with your application, but I do not encourage, I do not support that journey at all. When you're getting ready to mail everything off, double, triple check that you've got everything. You can always ask us. Yeah, it's better to just do it right the first time. UK Visa and Immigration, and also they partner with the address you see here, VFS Services. Their customer service is difficult to use. Not incredibly communicative. So that's why if you have any questions at any point of the process, please feel free to ask us. There is an option to call them, and there isn't a possibility to email them. There are charges for both, and it's just not ideal. So ideally, we want to have your application perfectly mailed off, and no worries about having to talk to anybody. What happens next? Now we wait, Harry Potter style. So you've mailed off your application and you've given them an email address to contact you with. So from this stage forward, you want to make sure that the email address that you've given, and not only for the visa application, but also just for Richmond emails too, you want to keep an eye on your spam, your junk folders, all of that. I've noticed a lot of the UKVI, or not UKVI, but the UK email addresses, all of that, like even ours, a lot of times they get caught in the US filters, and I don't want you to miss important information. So ideally, when you ship off your application, you're going to receive an email and they're going to say, we've received your application, we've begun processing it. I think they even say we've sent it off to the UK. That does not mean they've sent your passport off. That it's like they've digitally sent off your application to the UK, and then they're waiting for approval, that sticker and things like that. The second email you get is application approved. It's on its way back to you. I know a lot of times parents, students get very nervous in this in-between time. They're like, it's taking a while, what's going on? It is very, 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 very rare that a visa application is getting denied. more likely it's just a slow processing situation. So that's why we always encourage you, just keep an eye on your spam, keep an eye on your junk. I mean, if it's been, if you've seen from the shipping label that they've received it and you haven't heard anything in a week or two, then you can, start to use the customer service to kind of reach out. But for the most part, it's a lot of times I just want to reduce stress in that it's very rare that it's a no. It's typically just a very slow yes. Another reason for that is because we've already reviewed all of your information to produce that CAS letter. We've already gone through so many items and checks and double checks. So it's very rarely a no, just a very kind of a slower yes than we'd like sometimes. All right, when your visa is issued to you. So on the right side there, we've got a little photo there of what we're looking for here. They call it the visa vignette. I call it a sticker because that is also what it is. And this is what you'll use to gain entry into the UK. You'll show this and it is good for 90 days. I mention that because a lot of times when students receive their passport back and they see the sticker, and we're all so excited because they always say that they're excited to receive their visa, and I'm like, I'm waiting for so many visas, so I'm excited for each one. And so when they receive it, they'll say, oh my goodness, oh no, it says it's going to expire in a month or two. What's going on? That's okay. You just use the visa to gain entry into the UK. After you arrive, you will pick up a BRP card, Biometric Residence Permit card. It's like an ID card, like a driver's license, kind of like that ID card kind of thing. And this way you don't have to carry your passport around with that sticker anyway. So that's actually been a upgrade since Bobby and I were students. So very cool. I have an asterisk there. If you have a EU passport, it is a little different. It's not a physical sticker. It's a digital, kind of a digital item. There's like an app and there's a digital item that you show. If you need more info about that, we can certainly connect you with the UK team. Oh my goodness, our favorite part, arrive in London. I have no idea who this very excited, enthusiastic young Floridian is. Let's go over our dates here. So undergrads, orientation, August 30th through September 2nd. First day of classes, September 5th. Graduates, orientation is briefer, September 16th. First day of classes, September 19th. So this is what it's all for. This is what we work for. I mentioned the dates. I know a lot of times everyone is thinking about flights, and I can certainly relate to that. But I do want to say the official guidance as far as flight purchases is that you should have your visa first. I, as a former Richmond student myself, can certainly relate to the stress of seeing flight costs go up. But if you do buy a ticket before you have your visa, I would definitely encourage it to be one of those that is flexible or has a little has some options with it. I don't want you to get locked into something and then something happens down the line. But at the end of the day, it's certainly up to you. I can just offer best advice. So these are our arrival dates. I thought there was one other thing I wanted to mention about it. I think it was just the flight. Okay, cool. Oh my goodness, we did it. Are you fatigued? Do we need snacks? So we're definitely opening it up to questions now. Let me take a look and see. I know there's been a little bit of just a little bit of conversation in the meantime here. Okay, so Bobby's got the tuition deposit info. If we already have our FAFSA award letter, oh, I think he answered a little bit, didn't he? All of the steps and return the signed letter. Is there any idea when we'll get our CAS after that? Okay, so if you have it, you've returned it. It checks the box for, oh, okay, Bobby says it too here. This is where you get the CAS request form. Let's have Victoria answer. Hey, that's me. Okay, so let me go back to my page on CAS just to, wow, look how far we've come, everybody. There we go. So to confirm, you have a unconditional offer meaning that you've met all the conditions listed on your offer letter. Your passport's all set. We have a copy of it, of the photo signature page. You've submitted the CAS request form. The loan has been confirmed. So you've returned the signed loan award letter, and you've received one more letter back, loan confirmation letter from Argena Financial Aid. This is kind of the final step of the loan process. And so those would be all the requirements there. So if you are there, feel free to send us an email. I'll post our email addresses in a moment, and we can do it. I can take a deeper look into your file and see if there's any other reason that there's pause. But yeah, I mean, as soon as you qualify for it, we're happy to request it from the UK team. Yeah, okay. So
We also had a question about fees. Yeah, for the visa fees, are they the same for US students and EU students?
okay. Does this fee apply to EU students as well? So you're applying from within the US, but with an EU passport. The application fee is the same, and the health insurance, yes, I believe will be the same as well. The main difference is that you do not have to you can do a lot of the application process digitally because you're not getting that sticker. You're getting, there's like an app, and there's like a something, I believe on your phone that you show. But you still have to make sure that you've met all of this criteria. And then as far as fees goes too, well, I can definitely make a note to double check on your file too, because I'm wondering also, are you US dollar or UK pound tuition rate? If you are UK pound, then you don't need to submit the deposit. And then if you are US dollar, then there is the $500 deposit, which does go towards tuition and is refundable. If questions still lie, we can dive into that deeper for sure. I'll definitely make a note of that to double check on the student above that asked about where they were FAFSA wise and things like that. And then as well, if the fees are any different. I believe the fees are the same. I don't based in the US, I don't work with a ton of EU passport holders, but my most recent experience, I believe everything was pretty similar until we got to that physical, just the difference between the physical and digital sticker application part. Okay, and I'm planning to travel to London in August. Okay, will this be a visa problem if I arrive more than 30 days before school starts, exit the country, and then return again in September? Okay, and because you're a graduate student, right? Yes, okay. So, because yeah, I was just trying to think about the dates and everything. So the main thing is that you would want to be sure that you were through the process, had your sticker prior to going to that event, because you need to have your passport back. You don't want to have it away, obviously. And then it is possible to enter the UK and the weddings in London. Okay. Enter the UK as a tourist, and then you would need to exit, go to Paris or something fun. I don't know. Anyway, go outside of the country, and then you could enter back in on your visa. Yes, that is possible. You just want to make sure. I would just encourage you to see where you're at and get going, apply and work through the processes as on the sooner side, just to make sure. And that actually, it's a good question. Yeah, for anybody who has travel plans, that's one reason that I kind of mentioned the passport, is is because I think a lot of people don't realize, they think that they can apply and then they can go on holiday or vacation or things like that. And so if you're doing that, you either want to get moving on that now so that you have it back to you, and maybe do one of those priority options because maybe it's worthwhile for you. Or the other way, maybe if your trip is coming up soon, then you want to do it when you come back. The main thing is you want to make sure you have your passport every time you need it. So yeah, certainly be cognizant of that. But yeah, so students can arrive up to, I believe it's actually 28 days prior to, but the visa will say when you can enter, or the sticker will say when you can enter. Um, and so you can arrive up to 28 days. Yeah, if you arrive any earlier, as we know, US passport holders can go as tourists to the UK and stay up, for up to 6 months. But for us, Richmond, a university, to accept a student, they need to be on a student visa unless, unless they're UK residents. Excellent. All good questions. And let me put up let me get back. Let's get back. I feel like there's probably a more efficient way to get back, but let's just relive our memories here. I just wanted to put up, I wanted to thank you for attending, and then just put up some contact info. And so I do want to add kind of like the caveat that this is, when I say from a US perspective, I mean as applying from within the US. So that's kind of the perspective that we had for this presentation. So yeah, so as far as the contact info, so if you want to email the US admissions team, we are usadmissions@richmond.ac.uk. The UK team is admissions@richmond.ac.uk. They may bounce it back to us if it's something that we can help you with. But if it is something more specific to them, they can certainly help too. And then, yeah, there I am, and that's my email address. I think I may owe one or two, not of you, but one or two students an email. So certainly always working on that. Yeah, I guess any final questions, or was it just that? Was it just that thorough? We're planning on having another webinar, not visa focused, because I feel like we've had 3 presentations and we've recorded them all, and we're recording the third. And so I think next what we'll do is we'll do a series about kind of just more fun London stuff a little bit later in the summer. Just Bobby and I were reminiscing about attractions and food and life and things like that, and just the idea of going to a webinar that's less not as exciting as UK visa applications, but
Nothing would
just
be as exciting as this, Victoria.
I know, right? But just just kind of getting everyone excited and sort of building a little bit of a community and things like that. Let's see, one question here. Can you go back to the fees page, health and visas? Yeah, sure. Let's see, fees. I know fees are a biggie. Fees. Do you want my examples, or I think this is a good start. Let me get the link up there too. Where's the link? So yeah, so if you want, you can see what what it would be for you. They can calculate it for you so that you know. Awesome. Excellent. Cool. All right, Bobby, do you have any additional anything to add? Are we good?
No, those were great questions.
Those were good
there's
questions.
there's a lot of moving parts, especially when you're dealing with international anything and visa anything, and that is definitely what we do here at Richmond. So everybody kind of has their own unique journey, and so yeah, it's important to make sure that your specific case is clear and addressed. And so these webinars are a big help. And as Victoria said, you can reach out to us if any questions pop up next week and you're thinking, oh man, I should have asked that during the webinar. Well, we'll still be here, so it's not a problem.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you're very welcome. Yeah, I think,
Oh, and as Victoria was saying, definitely check back with us when we do our summer webinars about London, because we both had a great time in London, and I think it's definitely worth pointing some people in the right direction to make sure you guys have a good time when you get out there.
yeah. And one thing I just wanted to note about the housing, the partner housing provider, if you haven't, it's housing is available. Please do not be alarmed if anyone goes to the IQ site and you see that it is full. That is on their site, but there is a block for Richmond students. So nothing to be alarmed. I know there was a little glitch with getting out kind of the link. Once you filled out the Richmond one for student affairs, then you're going to receive the unique link to go to the IQ page. And that's where there's a brief pause for the moment, but that is not because there are not enough rooms or anything like that. Please don't be alarmed about that. Yeah, and again, every Richmond student is so unique. Everyone has their own, different passports, experiences, this, that. So I know this probably doesn't touch on everybody, but I wanted to kind of answer like the top 20 FAQs, so that then we can kind of get into if you have a specific, concern or something, we can kind of direct you from there. But we've gone through the general information. Well, excellent. Well, nobody likes anything more than a Zoom that ends a little early, right? So I'd like to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you found this helpful and informative. And and please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and do look for our invitations for future Zooms. And any feedback that you have, we're certainly open and appreciative. So on behalf of myself, Victoria, and Bobby, thank you very much. And we hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And I
Thanks,
will,
guys.
yeah. So I'll stop the recording now.